Hi, this is Erin Perkins, and this is my presentation on understanding my community for Tallgrass Student Learning Center, which is my school, and the Auburn-Washburn School District in Topeka, Kansas. I have chosen to go more school-specific on my data in some of this beginning slides just because it's starkly different from our district as a whole, and it's important to how we function at our special purpose day school with our kids with emotional disabilities and how we prepare our students for the real world beyond our doors. So for our students and families here at Tallgrass, they have kind of the customs that they value, or their values are perseverance, along with some dependence intertwined there. And they've all gone through some pretty hard, traumatic things in their lives, both students and their parents. And so the fact that they're able just to show up and be able to give their best at school on most days, and you can tell that the parents are doing their best too with what they've got, says a lot for them. But there's also this need for some social dependence intertwined in there too about, what can be given to them because they have gone through so much. So it's a little balance, a give and take there. It's part of their striving for justice and equality, something that they value too, wanting what's fair. A lot of them have been dealt a rough hand in life, so what are they going to be able to get back? How are things going to be made right for them? Those are things that they fight for. Change for them is hard. There's a little bit of resistance to that too. So when new staff turns over, there's a little bit of a sense of weariness and untrust for a little while. And just even the change being made of coming to a special purpose day school is often met with resistance, and that's something that we have to work through. And we know as a staff and as a community as to how to build those relationships up. And I'll talk more about that when we come into communication realms. But we're in a more rural-esque community. We're on the south side of Topeka, southwest side, where there's lots of rural space around in there. So things like hunting and fishing, your neighborhood communities are things that our students rely on. Being able to go out and about, and who can you connect with there. There's a healthy mix of conservatism and liberalism, which opens a lot of doors for us to have good discussions with our students about and being able to take in lots of different values. And then one of the big traditions at our school is Christmas Family Bingo Night, where it's a very well attended event, and students with their families come and they interact and have a good time with all of the staff that's there as well. Our population characteristics, our parents' educational level is mainly high school graduates. We have some that haven't gone through that, and their students are going to be the first generation of high school graduates. There are a few with college degrees or VOTEC degrees, and they mainly work blue-collar or minimum wage type jobs. Hardworking, and sometimes work more than one job too, just to keep their families afloat. Our students' age range from 12 to 19, and it's primarily a male population. We only have, I think right now, out of our 25 kids that are enrolled, 2 that are female. But on average, it stays between 70 and 90% male, and our staff is split 50-50. Our race is also a lot more diverse than what our district is 80% white, 5% African American, 10% Hispanic, and then some other races mixed in. But our school is almost a 50-50 split between Africans, Americans, and whites. So that adds to some different dynamics at our school that they don't necessarily see throughout other schools in our district. When it comes to communication, because working at a special purpose day school and we're trying to get so many social and emotional supports in for our kids, we work very closely with home. So there's lots of phone calls, lots of texts to be able to reach parents and keep them on the same page of what's going on at school. Because the more things are the same across home and school life, the easier it is for students to be able to navigate through those social cues of things and just have some good structure to their life that they've been missing before. As far as district information goes, most of that comes through email, through the grading portal system. Our secretary is also really good about making personal phone calls to get parents involved or set up for parent-teacher conferences. Otherwise, we'll send letters home about the same thing. And then as far as bigger news, local, state, national, the television, the Capital Journal here in Topeka, the newspaper, and Facebook are mainly ways people get their information. Community groups for students to be able to get involved in. There's sports and musical groups and clubs of a great variety at the general education high school, which our students are allowed to participate in if they've been given the okay by our principal, and then they meet the other criteria that high schoolers are expected to meet as well as far as grades. There are Boy Scout and Girl Scout communities that are fairly active. The YMCA provides lots of resources and facility use for our schools. We have lots of adaptive PE programs that go out there to use the pool and other equipment, that sort of thing. Washburn University is the big university here in town that offers programs not just for staffs and paras. There's a good paras to teacher program that our school sponsors that runs through Washburn University. But then for students as well, there's plenty of sports camps. Their art center is very involved, musical and the hands-on drawing types arts. And then another group that I thought was important to include, it's a fairly new group, it's called Topeka JUMP, stands for Justice, Unity, and Mission Project. It's the community activists that are out to serve the underprivileged of the community in any ways that they can. There's lots of church involvements from many different denominations, Christian organizations. So it's one that's becoming a lot more vocal in education. They're trying to make some different impacts in schools, mainly in the Topeka 501 school district, not so much in ours. But they have other outreaches that get into our community as well, into our district, and especially for our students who are more of the underprivileged group. It's an important group to note as well. Our school leadership, we have a superintendent who is been there for less than 5 years, but he has already taken on some really big projects since he's been there. He always stays up to date on the political issues, and it's kind of one of the things that comes in being involved in a or having your school in the capital of the state. Is the political issues and the political tensions kind of come out a lot more than maybe in some other spaces because it's just right here in your face. But anyway, he has, Dr. McWilliams has set out a strategic plan that he wants to have completed by 2021 that impacts academics, job readiness, community partnership. He sent out a patron insight survey that I'll talk more about in a little bit, just to try to get a big community outreach in how our district is doing as a whole. Our other central office district staff, you will see around the schools rather frequently. You'll see them at football games on Friday nights. They are very visible. The school board is just as active as well, and as are the principals. And so in this community, it is very important for leaders not just to be sitting behind the desk and making all the decisions, but to be out there and be visible. So like I said, that's one of their characteristics there. The school board, something that I found that they do that's pretty, well, I think it's unique anyway, but every meeting that they have during the school year, they call a principal in and give them a chance to recognize staff within their building so that the school board really stays in close touch and can recognize as well individuals that are doing well in their jobs, be able to acknowledge that and be able to hear firsthand about how they're doing. So then we also have the Auburn-Washburn Foundation Director. That's another group that will come up in a little bit too, but basically this is a foundation that focuses on grants for teachers and classrooms, but the director this year has spent a lot of time putting out advertisement, seeking new patrons and new contributions from just local businesses or from the local casinos that are further north of town, all sorts of different places that he's been able to pull in extra money from to contribute to help give grants to teachers and classrooms for equipment that they may find helpful. The economic conditions, I'll kind of now go broader into our area or into our community and how that affects our students here. There's a variety of different jobs out there. We've got factory works for Frito-Lay and Mars and Hill's Pet Nutrition are all here, local businesses and corporations. And then we have a fair amount of government work. There are state, district, government people who send our children to our district. So that kind of makes a difference as to what looks like, with our property values here and the other statistics that you can see around here. As far as our families go in our school, we're more on the lower end of things. You can see in that free and reduced lunch statistic there that only 30% of our students district-wide qualify that, but 80% of the students at our school do. Within our district, then, like I said, we have a wide range from between government officials. Middle class is the majority of the population, but then you have people who live in a Ontario district, which is mainly factory or education, agricultural work, and some students that come from families at Forbes Air Force Base. Political structure, as far as what directly affects our school, we have the Board of Education that has 7 different members. We have our superintendent who works very closely with them. And like I said, being in the state capitol, when the legislative decisions get made, we feel a little extra tension around that here. We get lots of requests to, as far as being educators in this district, in this town, to be more active and more vocal in the decisions that get made at the state capitol level. Which can be one of the social tensions. It's not quite as big, though, as some of these other things. The Topeka community has a fairly large drug and gang community and population. It's not quite so heavy in our district, but my students can tell you, who the gangs are, where not to go, which lines you don't cross, as far as gangs go, and they know where to go to get the drugs and those sorts of things too. So it's something that does bleed into our school more than we care to admit. We do have the social class of the distinct rich and the distinct poor, and one of the things that came out from this parent survey is that we're a district that seems to cater to the white rich as opposed to other groups. That's one of my extra sources of information that I really wanted to talk about, was this patron survey. I was just, lucky enough in this district that we just had this done and be able to have a good community outreach and school PR campaign going on right now, where they actually called and had over 300 participants answering this telephone survey of both parents and non-parents in the district, and being able to grade different levels on an A through F grade. It looked at the strengths and areas of improvement for the district. It looked at the 6 different student learning goals that our superintendent wants to hit, and then the information sources on how people are getting their information. Trickle-down power structure, starting with the governor to state school boards, local school boards, district central office, and then more specifically beyond that, when district central office makes decisions that impact the general education high school, that's what we fall under, then our principal and then our team being able to make those decisions. In the greater city, as far as multicultural issues are concerned, there is a fair amount of diversity and violence that are issues to be combated. Our school culture focuses on tolerance and acceptance, the social skills and social lessons to be able to build those up to be a good citizen. And then our school motto is SHIP, which is scholarship, humanity, integrity, and perseverance, that we kind of weave in there to help combat some of those greater multicultural issues. As far as how to knowing how that power structure runs through, decisions get made at the state level, school board and districts then take those into consideration, how we best live with it. The high school administration will make certain decisions such as curriculum, and they make those decisions for our school, and then our team focuses on what can we do to alter and supplement the other decisions that may trickle down. Measuring public opinion, like I said, we contact our parents on a daily basis. Word of mouth and meetings will tell us that parents are very supportive of what we do there. As far as our meetings within the general education schools and our public opinion, we know that they're appreciative, but they sometimes see us as a dumping ground place to get rid of their problem children in their school. So it's an interesting mix of what the general education schools think of our school specifically. As far as district-wide goes and measuring their opinion, like I said, we had that big survey that just went out recently. And then the Auburn-Washburn Foundation, which gathers a lot of community support for grants. They're in contact on, a very annual basis to be able to figure out how we're doing and what they would like to contribute to and what things that they would like to see to give money towards. That's the information that I have for you. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope you've learned something a little bit about our school specifically and then our district as a whole as well.